Up next, guys, it is a fun segment. It is a fan favorite segment. It is time for a Mount Rushmore. If you guys do not know what this Mount Rushmore thing is, basically it's like a snake draft. One by one, we have a pick. I'll kick us off, then it'll go Shad, then it'll go Josh, then Josh will have another pick, and it'll go back round to me and so forth until we have all had 4 picks. We can't pick the same as each other. Every pick has to be different. And today's topic, well, with the TNA invasion, it just had to be the best TNA wrestlers of all time. Male or female, the only rule is it has to be singles competitors. So if it's a tag team, it has to be one specific person from that tag team. But I'm going to kick us off because this is a Mount Rushmore of the best TNA wrestlers of all time, and I'll kick us off by taking the phenomenal one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, AJ Styles. Let's be honest here. AJ Styles was the face of TNA for many, many years. He was their first, well, I don't want to say their first, but he was one of them only main homegrown stars who were real draws, right? That's how I'll word it. He was a homegrown star who just came all the way through the ranks there and became a main event star. There was a bidding war for him on multiple occasions. When he left TNA, nobody could believe it, but they gave him some ridiculous offer and he went to New Japan. But AJ Styles was the face of TNA. He was the best part of TNA. He had very, very few bad matches, almost no bad storylines. This guy was Mr. Consistent there, and for that reason, he is my number one pick. Shad, who are you taking?
Great pick. I mean, that's probably the number one that everyone probably would have gone with. I'm gonna follow up with the guy who made me a big TNA fan because he was a familiar face that I watched as a kid, and I saw him jump ship over there. And that is Kurt Angle, man. Kurt Angle was doing just crazy stuff, man. He hit a new bar going into TNA. You saw a lively version of him just having banger matches after banger matches. I got to go with Kurt. Prime Angle, not the other name that people disrespect.
Oh, yeah, Prime, indeed. But honestly, fantastic pick, Kurt Angle in TNA. I mean, that man, incredible. I think, honestly, the best work of his career was there, for being honest, because he was in TNA for longer than WWE as well.
No, he was, man. He was like, dude, he was on another level, man. And there was a lot of, a lot to it, man. I would highly recommend people to go back and see the work that he was doing there, the matches that he had there, man. It was something special.
Absolutely. Josh, you are now up. Who are you taking?
All right, so I get 2 picks in a row. That's correct?
Yeah.
Okay, first, I'm definitely going to take Samoa Joe. Dominant force. He brought, legitimacy with his unbeaten streak and the hard-hitting style. He raised TNA's profile as, a real place, a real alternative to watch wrestling.
Fantastic show. I mean, again, multiple bangers, especially in the X Division as well. I mean, that dude was just destroying. He was tearing through the X Division.
Yeah. And then my next pick, I'm going to take Jeff Jarrett. He was the founder, the backbone of the company. It was his vision. It was his presence that made TNA possible.
Fantastic shout again. And yes, at times, let's be honest, like his title reigns absolutely sucked. Maybe even with a starting point to killing TNA. But at the same time, look, he is so important to it. There is no denying it. And he did play his heel role really, really well. But Shad, who are you taking?
I'm going with the icon Sting, man. Sting going into TNA was such a big deal to me. Obviously, this was after WCW kind of fell apart. WWE completely, they bought him and destroyed it, wiped it away. Sting didn't go to the WWE. He took a different route. He came to TNA. He made his name over there. He built star power over there. It felt WCW centric because it was an alternative, and he is the key figure of being that alternative. So I'm going with Sting.
A fantastic shout, honestly. Again, another person who, he was in TNA for surprisingly quite a while, and definitely for that peak of TNA, I'd say.
For sure. He saw the highs and lows. I'll say that.
Yeah, definitely. But up next, I am going to pick James Storm. He is somebody who basically just stuck around no matter what for TNA, and he was always very underrated. But whether he was doing tag team stuff or single stuff, that dude was killing it. He worked his ass off for TNA. He cared about it so much, and it is somebody who to this day is so criminally underrated. Then as my next pick, I am going to take one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Everyone's favorite father figure, Christian Cage. I mean, look, as a kid, Christian in TNA, I could not believe it. Plus, he left WWE to join TNA in his prime as well, and he decided to do it, right? He was one of the first stars who really optionally decided, okay, I'm going to leave this company to go to TNA, because most of their roster was either completely green wrestlers or wrestlers who were legends, and he came in his prime. So for that reason, I think he deserves a space on my Mount Rushmore. Shard, it is back to you.
Yeah, I gotta show love to the Knockouts division, and I know her name has kind of been controversial the last couple of days on Twitter, but I'm not gonna disrespect her. I gotta pick the legend that is Gail Kim. Gail Kim, someone who was like, it was not really looked at as a star when she was in WWE, was there for a cup of coffee. What she's done in TNA, man, she was the epitome of a star power. She's a trailblazer for the Knockouts division, a trailblazer for women's wrestling in general. I got to go with Gail.
Absolutely. I mean, again, obviously, a little bit rough timing, but you can't leave her off the Mount Rushmore. You just can't.
It's all good. Hey, man, we're talking about what she did in TNA. I ain't talking about what
exactly.
You know, I'm a Rio fan, so.
The only issue is, though, right, the way these reels work when they oppose it to Instagram, it's just us saying that one line. So you might be, just absolutely destroyed in the comments for it. But she has to be on the Mount Rushmore. She deserves it, right? And I'm honestly gutted I didn't take her because, the amount of stuff she did for not just the Knockouts division, but also women's wrestling as a whole is undeniable. Josh, you're up. What are your last two picks?
I'm going to take Christopher Daniels, cornerstone of the X division. He almost died for TNA with that insane bump he had. Also in the tag team division, but I mean, his consistency I think he was one of TNA's most reliable performers.
A fantastic shout. There's no doubt about it. Again, you've got Samoa Joe and Christopher Daniels. I have AJ Styles. Those three together, that triple threat match. I mean, Unreal. It's maybe the best triple threat match of all time.
I think it certainly is. I think it's up there, and my bias leading to Cena Royal Rumble 2015 with Lesnar Rollins.
That was good.
There's also we could talk about triple threats forever, but
absolutely. What is your fourth pick?
My fourth pick. This is tough. I'm between two names. I'm gonna go Abyss. I think he was like that signature monster. I think he embodied the hardcore identity that TNA had, and he was a lifelong TNA talent.
I'm going to be honest, I'm so gutted you took him because I really wanted him as my final pick. Absolutely fantastic pick. There's no doubt about it. And a great guy in real life as well.
Yeah,
as we all saw on Unreal. Shard, who is your last pick?
I'm going to go with Bobby Roode, man. This was a guy who was a big-time star within there. Was there for a while. Part of Team Canada, all of that. Beer Country, too, I believe. Like, the dude was just a staple for TNA for the longest time, so I gotta go with Bobby Roode.
A brilliant shout again.
I hope he is like utilized within this invasion angle too at some point, right? Like not.
I want one
wrestler,
more match.
But like
one more match, please. Just a retirement match. He deserves it.
He didn't wrestle that long ago. Now that I think about it, because him and Dolph was the tag team like in NXT a couple years ago, right?
Yeah, and he's got like an injury. Did some producing and then never looked back. This guy deserves a retirement match, and what better way to do it than on an NXT TNA show?
I agree. Book him.
Yep.
Right. Last but not least, guys, I'm going to go for a controversial one. I'm going to go for a guy whose highs were high and his lows were lows quite literally, because my last pick is going to be Jeff Hardy. Hear me out. Yes, the lows were very low. But the highs were equally very high. And this guy, Jeff Hardy, was the reason I found out as a kid that TNA Wrestling even existed. He was the reason I got into TNA Wrestling. And he did some absolutely insane stuff there. So I don't care what you guys say, right? Yes, he did some very bad stuff, but he deserves to be on the Mount Rushmore of TNA.
Everyone has their demons, man. Jeff is one that unfortunately has been displayed a lot within pro wrestling, but you can't deny his impact in any company that he's been in, especially like in TNA, WWE. I think that's a great pick. You know, I hate people always go back to obviously that moment with him and Sting in that match. That always plays back. But man, I'm glad that he's back, man. He's in TNA right now, man, helping out the young locker room and stuff like that. So good for Jeff, man.
Absolutely. D6 Warlord says, I thought he was talking about Austin Aries. Also controversial. Apparently he's got a neck issue, which would make sense for Bobby Roode as well. DCX Warlord, brilliant shout to the beautiful people and Mickey James. And yes, this year they are going into the TNA Hall of Fame. Overdue, well deserved.
That was the last thing I was thinking about. Mickey James went with Abyss, but Mickey James is up there.